Live with Kelly and Mark airs rare audience-free episode amid winter storm. This Monday morning, as the East Coast shivered under one of the season's most formidable winter storms, Live with Kelly and Mark gave its viewers something few had ever seen. A full hour of glitzy talk show energy, without a live audience clapping, cheering, or shouting questions from the crowd. Due to Winter Storm Fern dumping snow and ice across the region and prompting a state of emergency in New York, the beloved ABC morning show broke from tradition and aired one of its rare audience-free episodes, a scene not seen since the early days of the COVID-19 pandemic. It was a curious moment of television normalcy colliding with extraordinary weather, and in the hands of hosts Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos, it became something genuinely memorable, cozy, humorous, and oddly reflective of the city outside their doors. The storm that changed the show. In the days leading up to the broadcast, New York and the surrounding tri-state area braced for Winter Storm Fern, a massive weather system that brought snow, ice, and dangerously cold temperatures from the Central Plains all the way to the Northeast. On Friday, January 23, New York Governor Kathy Hochul declared a state of emergency, a move that set the stage not just for snow days and closed schools, but also for a very different morning talk show. The storm was intense enough that schools closed, flights were canceled, and the city's usual rush hour turned into an exercise in patience and grit. By Monday morning, New Yorkers were digging out from up to 1.5 feet of snow, especially in places like Central Park, where 11.4 inches had accumulated. Such conditions naturally made bringing a large studio audience into Midtown Manhattan, slippery sidewalks, blocked subway entrances, and all, a logistical and safety challenge. That's why the show's executive producers made the call, "No audience today." A different kind of applause. The episode opened with Ripa and Consuelos already seated at their desk, bypassing their usual dance and entrance. The sight was strikingly understated. No crowded audience pit, no roaring applause echoing through the soundstage. Instead, what they got was a tiny crowd, handfuls of staff members already on the set, doubling as their makeshift audience. When someone clapped, Ripa laughed. "That's loud for 6 of you," eliciting a warm chuckle from Consuelos. This gentle ribbing set the tone for the rest of the show, light, self-aware, and real. "We are audience-free today, with the exception of the people that already work here," Ripa announced at the show's start. "Yay them. Yes, behold the size of our staff. Gigantic. I like this. We haven't done this since COVID." The remark wasn't just humorous, it tapped into a surprising nostalgia. Fans of daytime TV remember the early years of the pandemic, when live shows made similar adjustments to stay safe. The return to that setup, even if only for a day, felt like a strange echo of the past, a reminder of how much live television relies on audience energy. Weather chats, snow shovels, and small joys. Consuelos, ever the storyteller, read a local weather report on air, sharing the snowfall tally from Central Park and commenting on the storm's quirks. "That's not that bad for us in a massive snowstorm. We've had worse," Ripa observed with her signature mix of grit and humor. He also shared stories from their weekends spent burrowed in the snowy city, shoveling sidewalks around their home, wrestling with dry, powdery snow that wouldn't stick to the shovel, and the inevitable barbs about daily workouts versus chores. Ripa quipped that she wanted to take over shoveling just for her workout, until Consuelos pointed out it wouldn't be very satisfying. From there, she was quick to abandon the idea altogether. The hosts also joked about listening to the radio that morning to hear if their school district was closed, a tongue-in-cheek nod to parenting during winter weather long after their own children had graduated. There was no bitterness about the lack of live audience. Instead, it felt like an opportunity for viewers at home to peek into a more intimate and authentic version of a show usually buoyed by crowd reactions. The laughs, the asides, the off-the-cuff moments, it all felt like a snowy day living room conversation as much as a live television broadcast. Guests still braved the cold. Just because the audience stayed home didn't mean the show skipped on its scheduled guests. Even with the snow and icy roads, actor Jason Biggs and director Leslie Iwerks still made it to the studio to appear on the episode. Their segments offered a welcome blend of distraction and freshness, a reminder that even unusual episodes can still deliver the entertainment and insight viewers expect. Meanwhile, the show cut to a live report from ABC 7's Phil Tate in Brooklyn, where locals were busy digging out, brushing snow off cars, and facing the day with that signature New York resolve. One memorable sight was a man shoveling snow in just a hoodie, no gloves, relying instead on hand warmers in his pockets. Repa couldn't help but deliver a mock plea for the crew to send him a warm pair of gloves. It was the kind of unscripted moment that reminded fans why live television still matters. Even in the age of streaming, even when the audience is absent, there was unpredictability, warmth, and a shared human experience with viewers at home dealing with their own weather challenges. Not the only show without an audience, Live with Kelly and Mark wasn't alone in its audience-less moment. Across the same ABC lot, fellow daytime staple, The View also opted to air without its usual live crowd. Its co-hosts, including Whoopi Goldberg, Sunny Hostin, and others, similarly greeted empty seats with humor and goodwill wishes for viewers affected by the storm. This collective choice by New York-based talk shows marked a unique moment in broadcast television, a shared acknowledgement of nature's power and the resilience of live programming to adapt and entertain despite it. A show that rolled with it. For regular viewers of Live with Kelly and Mark, this episode will likely stay in memory for a long time, not because of brutal snowfall or weather statistics, but because of how it embraced its own circumstance with grace and personality. Repa and Consuelos didn't apologize for the lack of crowd energy, they owned it. They turned what could have been a halting, awkward show into something relatable. Two familiar hosts talking honestly about their city, their weekend, and their day, all while acknowledging that life, snowy weather and all, doesn't pause just because there's a storm. And viewers at home seem to feel that authenticity. On social media, fans shared smiles at the hosts' jokes about shoveled sidewalks and empty seats, and many thanked the crew who still showed up to make the show happen. It was, in many ways, a testament not only to the city's enduring spirit, but also to the small joys that come from cold mornings, warm laughs, and human connection through the screen. Looking ahead, as the storm's effects continue to be felt outside studio walls, narrowing commutes, snow-packed sidewalks, and delayed plans, the rare audience-free episode of Live with Kelly and Mark will likely go down as one of those small but unforgettable moments of television history. A reminder that creativity and community don't disappear when the seats are empty. In fact, they sometimes shine brighter. Whether you're a fan of the show, a weather watcher, or someone who just needed a laugh on a snowy morning, Monday's episode proved that even in the midst of winter, warmth can be found, one joke, one story, and one snowy studio at a time. As the episode faded to its final moments, there was a subtle sense that Live with Kelly and Mark had captured something rare. Not just an unusual broadcast, but a quiet snapshot of a city and a show adapting together in real time. The absence of an audience didn't drain the energy, instead, it redirected it. The studio felt less like a stage and more like a shared shelter from the storm outside. Kelly Repa leaned into that feeling as the hour unfolded. Without the usual wave of applause to cue transitions, she and Mark Consuelos relied more on each other. Quick glances, inside jokes, and that unmistakable rhythm that only years of partnership can create. It was as if viewers were watching the show's heartbeat rather than its spectacle. Each pause felt intentional, each laugh a little more genuine because it wasn't prompted by a crowd. Consuelos, ever observant, joked that the empty seats made him feel like they were broadcasting straight from someone's living room. "It's very intimate," he said, scanning the quiet studio. Repa agreed, adding that it reminded her of radio days, where imagination fills the space that applause usually occupies. That comment struck a chord, especially for longtime fans who remember her early career and the many evolutions of the show over decades. Behind the scenes, the scaled-down setup also highlighted the unsung heroes of daytime television. Camera persons, producers, floor managers, and crew members who braved icy streets became part of the on-air experience. Their laughter, softer, more spontaneous, replaced the thunderous claps of a full house. Repa made a point to thank them repeatedly, calling them the bravest audience we've ever had, a line that felt both playful and sincere.